Happy holidays, PTG family. We hope you're doing amazing out there. This episode is brought to you by HK Army, and it is time to level up your game with the newest evolution in performance. Introducing the HK Army Razor R5 marker by Planet Eclipse, the ultimate paintball gun for players who demand power, precision, and perfection. This marker isn't just designed to perform, it is engineered to dominate. With its sleek construction, lightweight feel, and lightning fast capabilities, the Razor R5 will have you outshooting the competition in style. And let's talk about style. The Razor R5 comes in 5 amazing colorways: the Stealthy Onyx, the Electrifying Amped, the Gold Standard Midas Gold, the Clean and Sharp Pure, and the Fiery Bold Scorch. No matter your style, there is a colorway for you. Do not miss your chance to own the HK Army Razor R5, the marker that's changing the game. Shop now at hkarmy.com or your favorite retailer to claim yours before they are gone. The HK Army Razor R5 is live right now. Take aim, take control, go shop at hkarmy.com. This episode is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. They are an amazing online supplier and have been around since the beginning of the game as Michigan's premier paintball field and paintball supplier since 1987. They are rapidly expanding into the online retail space and supplying everything you need to be the best paintball player you can be. They have got it all. Head over to lonewolfpaintball.com and shop all of your favorite brands. And they also boast amazing customer service and will have this out to you with same-day shipping, which is amazing. It's always nice to know that your stuff is on its way immediately so you can start to use it that very next weekend of play. Check out their YouTube, Lone Wolf Paintball, and their Instagram at Lone Wolf PB, and stay up to date with all of their deals and sales. Play the Game podcast is immensely honored to have them on board, and we cannot wait for you guys to check out lonewolfpaintball.com and become a part of their community.
What's going on, PTG Nation? Thank you guys so much for tuning in and rocking with us. This is the first show of the new year, and we have none other than Justin J.C. Cornell from Edmonton Impact, one of the most relentless, aggressive attackers to ever play the game, one of the best. Dual threats on both sides, and somebody who's been around for a very long time, seen many iterations of paintball, and a foundational piece of Edmonton Impact. So without further ado, we are going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harmon.
Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harmon saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
All right, PTG fam, welcome back to another episode of PTG. We're excited to have you here. Buckle up. We've got the one and only, the legendary JC in the house, and he's reporting live from the Northern Territories. JC, how you doing?
Good. From the Arctic tundra.
Yeah.
New teammate, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go, boys.
Hell yeah.
We got the gang. Finally, we don't have to worry about JC being somewhere on the other side of the field. This is going to be pretty great.
Well, you'll still have to worry about it. You'll just be behind me.
I don't think we're the ones that are gonna have to worry. Pretty exciting stuff, man. It's been a blast being a competitor against you for the last 15, 17 years. And now the opportunity to be on the same side is pretty epic. So yeah, looking forward to it, brother. But let the listeners know where you're tuning in from. What do you got going on?
I am in a place called Vernon, Canada. In the mountains, I guess. It's nice. It's kind of drier here. I guess we're above Montana area. Straight up and from it's nice. We've had a pretty nice winter, so it's actually not the Arctic tundra right now.
Nice.
We got snow in the hills, but not outside. So it's good.
There we go. Yeah, and you're known for being one of the most dynamic and relentless players in the league. I always joke around. I'm like, Honey Badger don't care, man. Honey Badger don't care. That boy is gonna get it. And you have a certain swagger that is respected, heavily respected in the league. Where did you learn that style of play? And kind of, I want to just get straight into your story in paintball and like how it all started for you, because you're ultra respected in pro paintball, and not a lot of pros have come from Canada. So like, how did that whole journey start for you?
Oh man. Well, I guess similar with everyone else. I just started playing when I was young. I think I was like 12 or something like that. And more than half my life now, it's been forever. So, but, and just early on, I just started learning, like started playing with my buddy, my good friend at that time. And, I think the big thing is we, we're playing like scenario ball, in the forest and stuff, but we went to our local indoor and it was actually Mike Carey's field, which you know of.
Dude.
So
no way. Mike Carey, all-time legend. All right. I got to tell a quick story about Mike. I was on Oakland, or maybe it was Twisted. I was on Twisted and I saw this guy tomahawk his paintball marker into the earth and it blew my mind. I was like, he's going to die. That tank's going to like explode off and something bad's going to happen. And he didn't give an absolute F, dude. He was just sending it.
Which is funny because he's such a calm person outside of paintball, like people just transform.
Will do it to you.
Yeah, exactly. And so it was his field that I played at, and they had like a little kids night. And that was really the catalyst because it wasn't me just going out and playing and having fun and all that. We started playing this kids night and we were getting taught by an Adam Conley. He used to play with Personal Vendetta back when Vendetta was actually Vendetta.
Is this Adam Conley that is now in Australia with Mike Weiber? Oh, no way.
Yeah. So
that's incredible.
I pretty much, I always attribute a lot of my career and stuff to him, because instead of learning from a dad or someone that has no clue what the hell they're talking about, I had these legends above me as a little kid learning the right way. Right from the start, he was telling us, hey, you need to run and gun. You need to switch hands. You need to learn how to dive, like learning all this stuff, which really skyrocketed us, these kids that were playing, learning all these skills and doing things proper, because so many kids start out and they're learning and their dads are teaching them. And guys, from doing clinics, you show up and you're like, you see kids and you're like, you are doing things wrong. And it starts from a bad, a place of people want to be genuine, help them out. But like, if you don't know what you're talking about, you're teaching people wrong. Yeah, exactly. So I think that was a big thing. And then I just started, playing the local series. We're playing little events and just playing with guys that I'm just grinding it out. And then we just got better and better. And then as you were asking about my play style, early on, I was little, I was fast. And I realized that paintball was just a lot easier, not gunfighting. It's just easier.
Go get them.
Yeah, go down the snake. Like, oh, they can't see you in here. Just crawl to the bottom and shoot them in the side. Yeah. It's way easier than actually gunfighting people and, sitting in the back. But so I just kept doing that and it just kept working and I just got better at it. And it was. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's something Rusty Glaze would always say, when we were on Dynasty, is like, why you want to gunfight a barrel? Go do some crafty stuff and work together and get necks, backs, and packs. Yeah. Those are the opponents you want to be shooting at, necks, backs, and packs. So that was always
paintball is all about angles, right? Like you could be the best gunfighter and every game's a toss up, but if you have a team that's out angling you, and they're all in the spots, it gets tight and then you're like, man, we can't win.
That's right. Absolutely.
And sometimes I have to remind myself that too. I'm like, don't be fancy, make the moves, get to places you want to be, and things will just fall into place. So
pressure and angles. That's the name of the game right there. Yeah. And then, being orchestrated with each other. We're cooking in the kitchen. We got it going for 2025. I'm really excited to be on the field with you, dude. And the whole squad. I know everybody's really hungry for some great paintball, and the entire league is. The league is so deep right now, and everybody's working extremely hard. So it's an exciting time in paintball.
Yeah, paintball's in a good spot right now. You want it to be competitive. You want any day to wonder who's going to win, especially those like, as a fan outside perspective, like you want to watch those prelim games with some excitement. Like, oh, there might be an upset here and there, and
for sure.
You want the top 10 teams to all have a chance to win the event. But
yeah, and we're there. We're there right now. I think it's the most competitive pro circuit we've ever seen, because on any given Sunday, there are upsets. And I mean, I guess we could just dive right into it. There was the most massive upset of all time at World Cup, when Fit took down the giant that is Impact, and it was crazy. It was crazy to watch.
Yeah, I'm still bitter about it. So touchy subject. Sure. But it was, they did what they had to do. They played well. They got down the thing.
Yeah.
I attribute a little bit from my perspective, as not as much as they won, as more as we blew it. With whatever was left, 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, you drop any team in our position, they win the tournament. Right. Like, hats off to Fit. They did come down on us, but our guys, without pointing fingers at anybody, but my team, guys weren't playing with the mentality of survive. You should never lose 2 points in 30 seconds, maybe 1 point, but you should hold that off 95% of the time.
You guys play that
5%.
You guys play that situation,
Poorly.
10 times. Well, no, I'm just saying, if you guys play that situation 10 times, you guys win at 9,
Oh, yeah.
It was just, everything had aligned for Fit. Honestly, they upset teams all year long. They beat Dynasty twice. Like,
they did.
Like, there were mistakes made and all of that, but damn, Fit played really good. And it's hard to take anything away from them, because their Sunday was not easy either. They beat Damage first thing in the morning. They beat Red Legion. They kind of like dismantled Diesel in a mental game, so they were able to stay composed in a, to me, I look at moments like that, and that's really impressive for a rookie pro team, because that game got so out of hand. And I mean, JC, like, we were both in that bracket, and we were sharing pits during the Diesel Fit match.
Yeah, the madness.
There was such madness, and like, they kept composed and were able to rise above in that game too. So that team, like, while they're a rookie team, Tyler and I have been talking about it on the show. They're all winners. They came up winning together. They have the same group. And it definitely wasn't by accident. It was an upset by definition, but man, it was their Sunday. It was their Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it, right? Their Sunday. I look at paintball events we've won in the past, and sometimes you just need, everyone jokes about the cliche, the paintball gods. You need them on your side, Good example, that Diesel game. Clint doesn't get that penalty. Maybe they lose that game and then they get 4th or whatever they're fighting for. But things happen the right way. Everything happens. In our game, coming down with 20 seconds left or whatever, like, you need to put those balls on people. You need a guy to look out. You need to run, make the right move. And it all just falls into place. And sometimes I've looked at past tournaments and I go, wow, we could have lost, 3 games ago because one little thing went away. And it's crazy how that happens. And
and
paintball's crazy because it happens more often than other sports, which is why it's so exciting.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I look back on literally every single win Dynasty had in the last 4 or 5 years. I look back and I'm like, we shouldn't have won that. Like, in the semifinals, we should have lost this point. We got a little lucky. Like, things kind of went our way. Players made some good moves, and they're, other teams make mistakes, sure, but it's like that catapulted us into the victory. But every single win I look back on, I'm like, I think there was one win in all of them that I was like, okay, that was pretty decisive.
Yeah, where you crushed the whole time.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, that was pretty decisive. We were definitely the best team there. Other than that, it's like things just kind of kept going our way.
You need luck on your side.
Totally, you do. Yeah, because it's one little thing can literally change the course of your Sunday. It's you're down 1 point in the semifinals and you shoot the right person on the break, but they slide it off, or it bounces, or, like, any of these little things change the entire outcome. One paintball, one hit, one elimination, you leave us a half second early and you get pulled. Like, these little tiny things are the difference between winning and losing. You won't even. Yeah. And it's such a fickle game. And that's why victories are so hard to come by in the sport. And they really are special. But I mean, I still am just kind of in awe of Fifth Sunday there. I think it can't be really overstated, enough, because it was impressive to have everything go your way your first year in the pro division. Some of them have been in the pro division, but really as a team, as a collective, then, and come through at the biggest event. Like, it wouldn't have been so surprising if it was the Texas event, or even the first event of the season, or, one of the middle events. But World Cup is like, it's World Cup.
They did it at the right time.
Yeah, definitely.
For them now, it's, I think, winning World Cup, people might say, is the hard part. That's not the hard part. It's now what they do this year. Can they win another event? Or, I don't want to, call people out, but like the Hurricanes, they had a good last year, one event, and then everyone's like, oh, Hurricanes are legit. And then they struggled all the rest of the year.
Right.
So it's like, you need to be the tight team. You can't come in there being like, hey, we're hot shit. They might come in and get 10th, you know, so like now they have the real test. So we'll see how they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, dude. And it was crazy because the people were going nuts at the event.
The crowd.
The crowd was going berserk, but it's because there's the USA Canada battle that was going on, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't wait for all that.
Yeah, fuck. I've been dealing with it my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, I find it so funny, you know, the whole USA. It's like 80% of our team's American. You know, all the American guys are like, come on, fuck, we're on the team too. You know, like I get our team's from Canada by name, but it's like, you know, now you guys are gonna have to feel it.
I love it, man. Hey, God bless Canada, dude.
Hey, it's bull syrup, you know. Give me some we're ready, dude.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Ice caps.
God bless Canada. Yeah, it's one of my favorite places in the world, to be honest with you. I mean, the Canadian culture is some of the most fun I've ever had traveling is up in Canada and playing different tournaments through there, traveling for clinics and that kind of stuff. It's just the culture is right. You know, the people are hard workers. They love paintball, and we're excited to be a part of the squad, man.
The country's beautiful too. Anyone listening that's never been up to Canada or has been hesitant, especially on the west coast of Canada, like if you ever want to do a trip, you know, avoid Europe, avoid going, you know, come up to West Coast Canada, get some nature in your life.
It's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
British Columbia is unreal.
That's pretty sweet.
Europe's pretty nice too, though. You ain't gotta hate on Europe.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's a lot further, right? People always romanticize, like, oh, I'm gonna go to France or something. It's like, you've never been to Canada. It's so close.
Yeah, true.
As long as you don't have a criminal record.
I guess we're trying to make you guys the 51st state, though. You guys might be part of the U.S. soon.
Yeah, that won't happen.
Wait, no way. Yeah.
We're too stubborn.
That's what Trump was.
Shot.
Being Trump again.
Classic.
Yeah, dude. If instead of getting on a 10-hour flight, go check out some West Coast Canada because it is really nice out there. And actually, some people were sounding off in the Discord. This is blasphemy. First of all, they're asking, Tim Hortons or Dunkin' Donuts. Come on now. You know, we got our PTG Discord.
To be honest, as a I might lose my Canadian citizenship, but I think Tim Hortons is downhill. It's like everything is taken over by mega corporations, and the soul has been sucked out of it. Subpar coffee, you know, stuff that's not made in house anymore. It's all downhill. You gotta find the mom and pop stuff.
Yeah, because Tim Hortons I used to love Tim Hortons. I mean, I still do, just for the ice cap. The ice cap is like, I don't think that's changed at all. It's still really good. But 10 years ago, when I'd go to Canada for the CXBL and stuff, Tim Hortons it was really good. And then I went last year with Ryan, and we went to Tim Hortons, and it just was it was different. It was just different. I was like, this doesn't have the same kind of feel, and the coffee was not very good. No. But Dunkin' Donuts, I'm gonna put them on blast. Their coffee is usually burnt. I'm not gonna lie. Like Dunkin' is. You know, if you get good Dunkin', well, first of all, for Dunkin' Donuts, oh man, I'm about to get canceled by all of our East Coast listeners.
We're both gonna have to leave North America.
We're gonna have to go down to Mexico. You have to put so much cream and sugar in the coffee for it to taste good. It's like I don't understand how sometimes I get coffee from Dunkin' and it's spectacular, but other times it's burnt. It's absolutely burnt, and it's like almost undrinkable. Starbucks is consistent. You know, Starbucks is, I'm just going to go out and say it's just always consistent.
It is consistent.
Yeah.
I'll give them that.
Damn, I listen to the listeners.
Here we go. Stir it up.
Donut holes and the breakfast and all that at Dunkin'. I can mess with that. Anytime we're in Boston for summer camp or any of the BKI stuff, it's always a Dunkin' fest, you know.
You know how it goes. East Coast. Yeah. So, JC, what made you want to pursue, like when you were coming up in the game, what made you want to say, okay, this is it. I'm following my path here. I'm going to play pro paintball. And you were with what was the crew that you were with before you went pro? That was such an iconic team. I'm the name slipping my mind. Was it with Josh Davey and on that team that Josh Davey came up through, or no?
No, not really. Well, it was I pretty much joined Impact. I was playing against Impact locally, like in Canada, when they first started making their rush in the States. Like they were playing D2 in the States.
That's right. What was that team name?
They were playing under Impact.
Okay. There was one that Josh Davey was on that I battled it out with him in Division 2 when I was on Twisted, and I cannot remember the name of the team, but they were iconic. It was such a
Personal
Beaver
Vendetta
Tails?
could have been.
Which
Or-
one, March?
The Beaver Tails. I was
Beaver
kidding.
Tails.
Vendetta was a Canadian team.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was pretty popular.
But no, I jumped on with them in 2006 when they went from D2, and then it was a weird year where they were locking semi-pro. It was the first year they were locking the pro semi-pro.
Yeah.
And they went from D2 and they jumped into semi-pro for the last 2 tournaments. And this is before I joined them, just because they're like, we might as well make the jump while we can, get beat up, learn. And then I joined the team the following year with a full season. And that's when Danny Miller, Josh Davey, a bunch of us joined, and we played 7-man, and we got 4th, I think, at our first event. So we're like, oh shit, okay, we can do this. Yeah. And it was just like, for years I was just battling the Yakimics. I was playing them when they were little kids. I think Zane was like 10. You know, Zach was 12, and I was just mollywopping them out there in our local league. And then my kind of team fell apart, and and then they were making this jump. And then, they asked me to join, and then we just kind of took off from there.
Amazing. Yeah, dude. Shout out to the Yakima family, legends from the north. Yeah,
they've been great. It's been awesome.
Yeah, that family has been so iconic and so meaningful to the game of paintball, and it's really cool to see the program kind of stand the test of time and be around for so long. Walk us through that journey of, when you teamed up with them and how you guys kind of went through the divisions, earned the pro spot, and
it's like I knew them very well from playing against them. Locally, we played years of against each other, and they are kind of going through the ranks too. And they, we played novice against each other, and then their team jumped up to amateur, and we played below, and then we played them in amateur, and like it was just battles every time. And then again, they were taking it serious, and they were trying to get better and better and go through the ranks. And they were going to they went to Europe, they went to Skyball, they were playing in the States. And then when I joined the team, and then, it was just like an outlet. I did play with Bart. Bart kind of put a weird throw together Canadian team in 2005, just to go down and play like 5-man and X-ball. And it was just like random Canadian guys that just wanted to play. So I got to play with them down there, and like that was kind of like the first like, hey, like this is a good thing, and then jumped in with them, and then we just that year having such good success in 7-man, and then we started playing X-ball, and now we're practicing the States, and then we started playing the Canadian League, and just having success together and just kind of rising the ranks together. It was awesome, like everyone that goes up through with a crew of guys is awesome. It's such a good feeling.
It's the best, that journey and the chase for like new adventures. Everybody's you're chasing a dream. Everyone's chasing a dream, and they're trying to become better at this craft and reach maybe someday that pro level. And the fact that you all had such vigor to do that together, and like, just say, fuck it, we're going in, we're going to do this. We're throwing caution to the wind. We're going to see how it plays out for us. And then to get the results and the validation to say, okay, we can stand here with all these players. We have what it takes to be here in the pro division. I remember we duked it out with you in Huntington Beach in the finals. You guys, and that was early in that was early in everything.
And you guys got us that one with Blast, dude, right?
With Blast, that was like the biggest win ever for Blast. We had won. I won in Denver with Bobby when I was playing 7-man with Bob, and then to have one of those HBs, because Dynasty pretty much won all of the Huntington Beaches. Yeah. And it was one of the few events where we beat them, into the final round there and made it past them. But yeah, it's been a long journey, and you've been with Impact for, geez, man, like you're coming up on 20 years with the team. That is unbelievable. So like, speak on that, how special that's been for you being with the squad that long.
Well, kind of building on what I was talking about, the fact that we were young kids, young teenagers, kind of finding our place in the game and in life. So we were going through milestones and traveling and doing these things together, which was awesome, because not only was we were playing paintball and doing what we love and getting better, but we were also traveling together, having experiences together, trying out new places, new things, and, they became like my brothers. So to like Josh, Zane, Zach, kind of going through everything together was awesome. And then having success with paintball was just a bonus on top. So, I just, when things are good and we've had such a good bond, it's like, why go anywhere else? It's just been, there's no reason to.
Yeah, dude.
Even in the low years, right? It's like we've had bad times, we've had bad events, we've had bad years, but it was all the other stuff, the camaraderie of traveling and doing everything together, and that bond you can't break.
Amazing. That's what it's all about right there, dude. Yeah. And Danny Miller and Josh Davey were on my very first pro team. So I got to be around like the Canadian culture from a very early age. Yeah. And we all called Josh the Inuit. He was like from the Lost Lands, and
dude, he is too. He was, if you look at a map of Canada, like most people live down at the border region. He was, up here on the map. He was, I don't even know how he got into paintball. Like, I think he was just out by himself shooting trees. It's crazy that he became a player. Like, it's wild.
What a specimen. The guy is so athletic, and the style that he brought to paintball, I honestly, with like hybrid contract killers during that era, there was John Marquez who spearheaded that whole movement, and Chris Corsino as well, I believe, was in conjunction with him on all of that. They created this subculture with hybrid, and Josh was one of the like front runners for the company, and the style that they were cooking up, and to be able to watch him mature through Oakland and then go into Dynasty, and to see his journey, he was super successful. And like you said, just pure passion and heart for the game and a natural tact and talent to play paintball. Like, how the hell did he come from out of the thicket and just become such a phenom on the field? He
was nasty, right?
Nasty. Yeah.
And and Josh is one of those people too. It's like off the field, he was such a fun guy, and, was so different than when he played. He was such a dickhead when he played, and, people didn't like, it's the classic. You would love to play with him, but you don't want to play against him. That probably rubbed off on me a lot.
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah,
that's you.
And I don't care about that. It's like, it's like any sport. You get those guys that people don't want to play against, and they're like, oh, that guy's a dickhead. But then it's like, when you do meet them, they're so nice and awesome, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, I don't mind being that guy. I like it. I feed off of it. So that's
sports, my dog.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Sports. Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, and teams need that. Like in paintball, you need scrappy players on your team. You need players. That was part of, on Dynasty, why Harrison was even in the conversation of getting picked up. It's like every time you play against him, he's a pain in the ass, and it's like, obviously, I mean, JC, I think you're probably really high on every single team's list. I'm sure you've had many offers over the years, but you at this point are like so ingrained into Impact. I think it's kind of like nobody's giving Ryan Greenspan offers, People don't think he's leaving. Same thing. People don't think you're leaving, but those are the type of players that you do want to have on your team, because if it works and you get along, when you're on the same side, man, it really changes the dynamic of your team, and it changes how people play you. I think it's a huge part of a team's success.
Absolutely. And I think some of it too is like those players exist because, they care. A lot of it's passion related. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be like that. It's like so much of it is wanting to win, wanting to do well. And for a lot of myself, it's like, when I get mad or I get, I'm yelling and throwing shit, it's like a lot of it's my own,
for sure.
I know how good I can be, and my team and people around me, and I want to elevate everyone to their potential. Like, so, sometimes I'll yell at guys and then I have to be after, like, hey, like, I don't mean any disrespect. Like, I just want you to play as good as I know you can play. Like,
absolutely
trying to draw that out of people. You guys will see.
Oh, I can't wait, dude. I'm so hyped. Let's go, JC.
I don't want people that don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
That period. I don't want people that don't care. If you lose and you think like, oh, it's fine, we'll get him next time. I mean, there is a balance of, not allowing a loss like fester in a negative way or in the wrong ways. But if you don't care, if you don't give a shit, I want to see emotion from you. I want to see that it actually hurts you.
Yeah. Or else, what are you doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Like, because to me, that is a byproduct of the amount of effort and time and care that you put into trying to win. So when you don't succeed, or you come up short, or you make a mistake, if you don't care, then to me, it shows that you didn't put that much effort in, like that you weren't losing that much, So to me, it's a important characteristic. Obviously, it can spill over into the negative side, and you want to always try to manage that. But I mean, look, passion is the foundation. Really, it's got to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. All right, so I want to talk about you've been playing pro paintball for a long time, obviously, and the sacrifices that you've had to make as a young man, and then growing up in the game, and then as an adult as well. There's still sacrifices that have to be made, and there's a lot of people out there who say they want to go pro and do this whole journey. There's also a lot that comes with it. So what has that been like, living the paintball life for multiple decades now, and what comes with that?
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You kind of nailed it. It's like, you got to sacrifices. It's like anything. If you want your life to be around X, whatever your thing is, you need to put that time in, and as a kid, I was every waking moment, I was thinking about paintball. I was looking forward to, like, when am I playing paintball next? And then, I was playing every week, and and that's all time you could be doing something else. So it's like sports as a kid, because again, I was 12, right? It's like, you're just getting into like organized things. So it's like, I didn't play soccer, Canada, I didn't play hockey, because it's like, I was playing paintball, and it's like, I was working my, part-time jobs as a kid, all that money going to paintball, it's like everything was going towards paintball. And I think it has to be, you have to, I think, to get to this level with so many people, or this level in any high-end sport, or anything that you want to do that extreme, I guess, is you got to put all that effort and energy to it. And if you're kind of trying to do, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, you're not going to make it. And people don't, people like the idea, like, I want to be a professional paintball player. It's like, okay, well, are you playing every single weekend? No. Okay, well then, you're hamstringing yourself, because there's another kid that wants to play pro paintball, and he is playing every single weekend, and he's putting all his effort and time. So yeah, I was playing a ton coming up. There was a time, once I got going, and I was playing, I think, 5 times a week. I was like a Russian, I was playing indoor, doing drills, and then I was doing clinics at the thing, and I was playing weekly, and then on the weekend I was playing. It was just nonstop, right? And but if you want to be at that level and you want to get the results, and that's what you need, and you got to love it too. It's not like I was out there and I was like, oh, I don't want to be here. I wanted to be there. That's the difference. So
that is the difference. Yeah, people don't really understand that, because it is hard work and it's a lot of commitment, but it's truly where I always wanted to be. And like, even now, this off season, it's been so exciting just going to the field, and you're working on things that you enjoy. So it's not that hard,
No.
it's,
but you're still putting the time in the effort,
exactly.
right? You could be doing something else for sure.
Absolutely.
So, but
that's the key right there, man. You just obliterated that, because if you're doing it for optics, if you're doing it for some other reason than the fact that it actually fulfills you and makes you happy and you enjoy that process, then do something else.
Yeah.
Don't do it because you see, oh wow, this player, that player, whatever's going on, and they're getting limelight, or that's not why any of us here ever started playing paintball. And to this moment in time is not why any of us play paintball. Yeah. We do it because it fills our cup up, it is where we want to be. I can't stop. I know Marcel's the same way. You're the same way. We just think about this nonstop. It's all we think about. It's like, it's kind of a sickness almost, where we got bit by the paintball bug, and it's the best thing that ever happened to our lives. And I know so many people out there listening can attest to that it does change your life in a drastic way, and helps out in a myriad of other ways. But it's where we want to be, that's where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think about that often, that some people do pursue things because of the optics. They see, like, JC, and they're like, I want the same type of fame as JC has, or that type of success, and it's not rooted in I love paintball, you know,
Yeah.
and I want to be the best paintball player that I can be. And
You're
it's
looking
hard
at
for me
the
to wrap
end
my
goal.
brain. Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
for me to wrap my brain around that because I've just never been like that with anything. You know, from a young age, my dad was always really adamant of just I don't care what you do, son. Just make sure you love it. Honestly, he was like, I don't care if you want to go into business doing this, or if you want to work for someone doing that, or if you want to pursue a sport or this, just make sure you love it. Like that was so ingrained and that's what he did as well. You know, he was his own boss always. And there are a lot of people out there that are chasing things for the wrong reasons. And I think they come up short more often than not and don't understand why. And that probably is a big reason why.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I want to be a movie star. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be a famous actor, but I don't love it. Well, that's exactly right. I don't love it. I don't like, I'm not reciting monologues. I'm not like, you know, or I want to be a rapper, but you know, there's all these things and it's all the optics, but it's like, I don't care if you enjoy whatever it is. You like Yu-Gi-Oh, you're the best Yu-Gi-Oh player out there, card games or cricket or whatever it is, dive into that. Do what actually fills you up, because you're going to have so much more success doing that than chasing this optical illusion out there that, you know, looks a certain type of way. Just do what makes you happy. And if you do that, I assure you, you're going to have so much more success and happiness on that type of a path. And if you do want to do paintball professionally, reach out to us and ask questions and really try to dive into it and be a sponge, like JC said, because the only way that you're going to reach that is if you're consumed and kind of crazy about it, like we all have been our entire careers about paintball.
It's like the quote, do something you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
I
took that to heart and I was like, yeah, okay, let's do that.
Let's do that.
And paintball's rowdy. It's the best sport ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to you and the Boyum showdown. You know how rowdy it gets. Come on.
You've had a few of those. You just had another one at World Cup. It wasn't so much like a showdown, but that one was vicious. Who was that bunker dude? Was that at ML King?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pictures make it look so much worse. It's like everyone's like, "Oh, you shot him in the neck." I was like, if you watch the thing, he ran into me. He knocked me over. Like, it's like I just stood my ground and saw it all happening. Like, it's so funny. It's like
it is,
but it was an awesome picture.
Yeah.
See, things like that. Cool, honestly, I was talking with Maddie recently, and paintball has the opportunity to be one of the biggest spectacles in sports. There are moments that get kind of crazy on the field. And like anybody that knows about the showdown that you had with Boyum, that shit is a spectacle. You cannot not look at it. You're like, wow. Now there has to be parameters. We can't get to a point where it's unsafe and people are actually getting, like, if we talked about this as well on another episode, if people get so close and run up on each other, a barrel slips under a mask, catastrophe happens, something like that. But if we set parameters and keep distance and you guys just shoot each other, what harm are we doing? I mean, yeah, it's going to hurt. You're going to get welts all over the place. But I mean, we're grown-ass people out here playing a grown-ass sport in a professional division. I understand it's not for everybody. And don't get me wrong, mixed martial arts isn't for everybody. Motocross isn't for everybody. You know, there's a ton of things that aren't for everybody. But paintball has an opportunity to be one of the biggest spectacles in the history of sports, I think. And we are kind of going a little bit the other way because we want to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think we need to be smart about the opportunity that this sport has, and do it in a tactful way that is appropriate to keep safety at the forefront as well, but also not covet something that is such a spectacle, because it is like moments like JC. Some of your moments are my favorite paintball moments ever. You know, like it's some of the most exciting stuff you can see in our sport.
Well, it's one of those things, like, you know, how do I say this? Like, paintball in an essence, it's violent. You know, you're trying to shoot someone with a projectile, and it's like, so it's not violent because we're not touching each other, but the whole aspect of like shooting someone with a gun is the whole idea of it. But it's like, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's like when two people shoot each other a bunch, it's a spectacle, like you're saying, as long as it's kind of mutual and it's not in a
super malicious. Yeah.
If a guy's got his head down and someone's over top of him, not allowed. But if a guy shoots a guy 10 times or guys want to shoot each other both 30 times, as long as it's happening together and they're both, it never gets to a physical confrontation, or it's like, and I get it. They don't want that trickling into the fields. They don't want, but again,
right.
I would say it's like hockey. Look at the NHL. They have fighting. People love it. They, it's like some people would fight against it stuff, but it's a rowdy game. Emotions get high. They fight. But then in the lower divisions, they're not letting 5-year-olds chuck fists.
Exactly.
No.
So it's like there's this separation of like, hey, listen, these guys are making a living. They're making, they're professionals. We're at different rules in a sense.
100%, Missy.
I know some of that will trickle down, but that's not on us to water down our experience of how we're playing the game. Because of the lower division, you just got to make the fields got to take into those rules, and like we got to let some loose and man.
It's a rowdy game. We play a rowdy game, dude.
Well, and tensions get high, and there's behind the scenes, right? Bonus balling, like I think bonus balling should never be, called by a ref.
At the pro level, I agree. Now, once again, we want to I love the analogy you just presented with the NHL, because I think it's so applicable to this sport that we play. Like at the highest level, it's pretty insane. These guys are literally knocking each other's teeth in, and like the type of stuff that happens at a pro hockey game. Some of my favorite things to go see is like them duke it out and just chucking each other into walls. It's like football on skates, but I do appreciate that also with the leagues that they have for the lower division hockey, they protect and they nurture the players and make sure that it's all about the fundamentals, the sport and being good sports. And then the youngsters also know, it's like in the subconscious, they know, okay, I can't do this yet, but maybe someday I could get to that level and get kind of wild, and go out there and have some fun.
And anything that's physical nature in sports, it's not tennis where we're across from a net. We are getting close to each other. We're shooting each other. We're yelling at each other. We're, like, let's bring up the whole Clint with fit.
Oh, yeah.
He shot him. Yeah. And he shot him extra. And people see that and they're like, oh, the refs are throwing penalties and stuff. And that alters that whole event. That alters their game. That alters everything. Whereas let it happen. We don't know the behind the scenes. What if Colt had been bonus balling Clint for the last 5 points? And he shot him 100 times over those 5 points. And then Clint runs up and does that. And then the penalty gets thrown and they ruin the whole event for them. So it's like, I think at that level, you let us figure it out. Let the players duke it out. It's like they might have a thing going on. It's like, let the emotion come out. Let the fans get crazy. People love that stuff. And I don't know why we're trying to take it out of the game. Look at old paintball videos, 300 feet per second, all those. It's just them bunkering each other and overshooting. And there was a whole section of time where the videos were just awesome footage of people getting wrecked and bonus balled, and people loved it. It's like,
I agree. Yeah. Like watching the NFL, you'll see players are literally getting into fights and pushing refs, and then each team offset penalties, play on, like there's no ejections. Sometimes there's ejections if it goes too far, but these other sports, you have the professional way that a game is played, and then you have a different set of rules for all the other divisions. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, JC, but even in lower division hockey, like youth hockey, you can't even check somebody, right? So like, there's
which you shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be, exactly,
but those kids know, they've watched hockey, they know there's checking and fighting. They know in their league, hey, we don't check, we don't fight. It's so easy to,
Agreed. Yeah, I think when we're like changing the course of a Sunday, look, to me, a referee's job should be to keep the game fair. Just keep the game fair. Yeah. I think like if a ref is really doing their job very, very well, you'll never notice the refs. You should never notice the refs in any sport. In any sport, you shouldn't really notice the refs. There's been some times when I'm watching football games, it's like every other play, there's a penalty, and it's just irritating. It ruins the experience because it stops the game. They have to explain what happened. It ruins the experience, and you're like, on one hand, I get it. If they're offsides every time and the ref wants to call it, it is what it is. But it's like in sports, it's entertainment, right? We're trying to create something for people to view and enjoy. The refs should have as little to do with the game as possible if they're really doing their job well. It is a thankless job. They shouldn't be dictating, and I'm not saying that they are, but it does happen sometimes where like that call is just so unnecessary.
Well, it starts from the top too, and it's not the judge's fault. It's the parameters that are laid upon the judge and they have to follow those parameters. But we need to be super mindful of how we have a really big opportunity in front of us with this game. People love paintball right now, man. It's buzzing. It's culturally picking up. Everyone's getting involved with it.
A lot of pro athletes are playing and
so
in limelight.
We want to make this a spectacle for
I agree with you, Tyler. Like it's from the top. It's it's how we're training them. We should be like, hey, listen, if a guy's toes slide out of bounds, don't pull him and alter the game. If a dude bonus balls someone across the field, don't pull anything. You can warn him after, be like, hey, I saw what you're doing. Stop. Or you could throw warnings out there, but like too many times, I love watching paintball, but I hate watching a game dictated by a call, especially a call that did not matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. If there's guys out there cheating their bags off, wiping hits and doing that, okay, playing on, call those penalties because those are altering the game. Yeah, but if there's behind the scenes that's not altering the game, like I think we could get rid of that.
Yeah.
Like Marcelo says, like if refs doing their perfect job, if the refs were all doing 100% perfect job, there wouldn't be one penalty thrown.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like
Yeah, it's on us. It's us as a team too. The players and the refs being a team together and working together, and it's all of it. All of us have to be, symbiotic and on the same page and moving in the same direction and having the same vision for our amazing sport. Because really, that's what this is all about, right? We all love this game. We all care about this game. It's like our baby. It's all of our baby. Every single one of us that's listening and is a part of this game, it's all of our baby, and we want to see our baby grow up and be strong and go into the world and have a future. You know what I mean? So I just think that we could be super mindful about it and make, like, me and Maddie have had some pretty in-depth conversations about how we think that this game is one of the greatest spectacles of all time, and if we do this right, this game can be around for a long time if we choose for it to, if we set it up in the right way.
Well, the thing about paintball, like what you just said, like how many times, have you watched a Super Bowl and it's been boring? The last decade, there's a couple in there that are awesome, but how many games are you like, oh man, it was a blowout, it's like, it's a 4 possession game and you're like, there's no chance, or halftime, you're like, the game's already over or nothing happens. How many paintball tournaments at the end have been so exciting, so close, something crazy happens, there's comebacks, it's a lot. Like I don't know what it is about paintball, or when you get the 2 top teams, they're always exciting. They're grinders, they're battles. So if, like, from a viewer standpoint, if you're guaranteed to have a good game 75% of the time, like that just is exciting. Whereas like you turn on a soccer game, in like sometimes they're awesome, but sometimes it's 3-0 and you're like, okay, well, this is boring. So it's like, paintball's got that thing. I don't know why it creates these like awesome matchups, but it just happens.
We're gonna watch the Super Bowl together soon. We're gonna all be hanging out on Super Bowl weekend.
That's true,
dude. I can't wait.
You have a football team? You like
no.
Awesome.
Too much hockey in my life.
We could all root for the Chiefs then.
Yeah.
All right. What's the hockey team? What's your favorite hockey team?
Penguins, baby.
Yeah, Penguins. Man, I had a game when I was younger, and I was always the Penguins. When I must have been like 8 years old. I had this old hockey game. The Penguins would always be crushing the other team.
Yeah, you're probably Mario Lemieux ripping around.
Yeah, dude, legendary. Yeah, crazy. So you didn't play very much hockey at all then, because it was all paintball.
I played a lot of hockey, but not organized because I just didn't have the time. I played hockey every year of my life, mostly just pond hockey and messing around or, stuff like that. But I can. Yeah. I think I come out of the womb with a stick.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for the tremendous support with the PTG show. If you are enjoying these episodes and want to help with the progress and development of this program and connect with like-minded, hungry paintball players, then head on over to ptgpodcast.com, click the orange Patreon link, and become a member of the PTG World Discord chat room. And now back to the show.
Dude. I played ice hockey as a kid. I played for about 2 years.
Nice.
Yeah, from I was young. I was like 6 to 8 years old, something like that.
So you can skate.
I could skate a little bit. Yeah.
You're on my team then.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Every year when we go, do like the Christmas ice skating rink, everyone's like, "Oh, you got some moves there."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, still got it."
What kind of moves you doing out there? I want to know this.
I could skate backwards. I could ice. I could do the stuff.
Yeah.
I could do a couple.
Are you doing jumps?
Twirls.
They have ramps. They got ramps out there.
No. I'm not doing no jumps. No.
With the Red Bull crashed ice.
Yeah. No jumps. No jumps. I could get moving pretty quick. Yeah. It's skate.
Dude, skating's fun. I played a lot of like street hockey with the local neighborhood kids when I was coming up in Modesto, and it was rowdy, dude. We were like, I don't know, we didn't know the rules, I don't think, because we were going ham. We were checking everything.
We were playing football on roller skates.
Yeah, people were getting devastated out there on the gravel, just turning to ground beef out there.
But fond memories.
Oh, the best. Yeah. The best memories. Yeah.
Yeah, my son's just been skating and playing hockey, and he just turned 3. And
no way,
man!
Yeah, if you ever want a back workout, teach a toddler how to skate. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're just hunched over the whole time.
Yeah. It's a lot, but it's been
that's getting your back nice and strengthened for this year. You'll be doing a lot of diving, running around.
Yeah, maybe not as much.
Yeah, maybe not as much. Maybe back to the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, JC, because you're one of the few attackers that truly can play both sides. Tyler and I talk about this on the show all the time, how we think paintball is mostly positionless. Like, I do think you break it up between attackers and support players, but I don't love the, like, you're a snake player or you're a Dorito player. I think you either like have a propensity to want to be aggressive or you're a little more methodical, right? Like, those are kind of the different styles that I would break the game into.
Yeah.
And you've proven over and over, and especially the last couple seasons playing, the snake side for Impact, that you're just a relentless attacker on both sides. How have you cultivated that part of your game? I know you said growing up, it was, you just kind of learned early on, it was easy to get behind people and shoot them, but it's not that easy. Being an attacker and constantly getting into the good spots is really hard. That is literally what the entire other team is trying to do, is stop you. And when we play against Impact, it's okay, let's stop JC. That's always like, and somehow you still find your way in there. So how have you cultivated that type of play style?
I think the biggest thing, it comes down to analyzing fields, because especially when a layout drops and you see it for the first time, whether on paper or in real life, is you got to kind of play fake scenarios and games in your head, and you got to look at the field and be like, what side's going to actually be able to push? Because if you just say I'm a snake guy and you show up there and you're like, I'm playing the snake, and then 2 days into practice you realize, you know what, it's hard to get out of the first bunker into the snake. Well, guess what, you're probably not going to be in the snake very much. So if you can make that decision early, be like, wow, it's actually going to be hard to get in here. It's like, maybe I could be, I will get in there, I'll do damage. But you look at the other side and you're like, well, this side, I think I could probably get to the 50 Dorito 60% of the time. So then you're like, okay, even though I'm a snake player, I can get to the 50 Dorito more. So it's like, let's play that side. And now I can push. And then you realize, like, oh, wow, I'm getting more production over on this side. Mm-hmm. And then, and especially when guys, there's some fields where it's so strong on one side. So you're like, listen, there's going to be more eyes this side. There's going to be 3 guys always on this side. There's only 1 guy stopping me. So you're like, if I can put that 1 guy in, I'm gone. Even though people aren't really worried about that side, that's kind of a beneficial thing because there's less people looking that way.
Sometimes on fields like that, I feel like that's the side that wins the tournament. Obviously, all the action will happen on the one side, and games are won and lost almost every single point. But the teams that go through and win the actual tournament, they have that little bit of extra, a few more wins from the non-win side, the quote non-win side. I'm like, this is going to be the important side. Don't lose it, and then steal some wins over there. And if you just kind of do, play the game on the fast side, usually come out on top.
Chris was really good for you guys doing
Dude,
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was over there
Absolutely.
just alive, and then all of a sudden bites you. You know,
Absolutely.
it's like, and you need, if you know, for people listening, if you are on a side like that, you got to look. You don't have to make a crazy move every point, but you need to steal, like you said, you got to steal those points every once in a while.
Totally.
If you're on that side that steals points,
Totally.
you know, everyone's looking one way, and then all of a sudden you're running down that side. And if you do that 20% of the time, yeah, you put yourself into a way better position to win those matches.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I've always just
too. Like you used to walk fields. Remember, you had so many different layouts you had to look at. So you became a master of like walking different layouts and finding the cadence.
Yeah.
And now you're applying that in the modern day.
Yeah, exactly. And then that was big. You know, you look at 7 fields out of an event, and you're like, you got to figure that out quick before you even play them.
Yeah.
So, and also you have to have I think the big thing too is you have to have the trust of your team to be like, hey, I want to play over here. I think I can be better over here. You can't. So, because if you fall into a role where you're the snake guy, when you show up to a field, everyone's like, you're there. That's
right.
You know, so it's like for me, especially when I first started being like, hey, I think I can attack over here more. Having people that trust you, I'm like, sure, try it out.
Yeah.
It really goes a long way, because then they're like, oh, you were right. Like this side is better for you. So
dude, I love to hear that, JC, because I don't think there's many players that actually approach the game that way. And for the last like 5-6 years, since I have been doing a lot of coaching and working with the kids, I've truly started to coach that way. Like I have certain players that based on, again, like some of them are really methodical, right? Some of them are always going to be alive. They will still steal games. And some of them are really aggressive. They know how to get into good spots. They'll take advantage of a side. They have the right athleticism, and we'll show up to a field. And I'm like, well, you're not the snake guy this event. You're the Dorito guy. You know, it just makes sense for you to be over there. And, you know, hey, kid, you were playing the Dorito side last time. You're actually the snake guy over here. I need you to be alive. When you can, get in there. Don't let them come down and beat us down this side, right? Like, and it is truly, it's based on the field layout. And I don't think that's something that, you know, a lot of teams or players understand. And young players coming up, if you're listening to this is why it's so important to be a well-rounded player. Don't pigeonhole yourself into, because I think the game is going to continue to evolve to this, to where attackers are playing on both sides, and it's a little less rigid to where it's like, no, you're the snake guy, you're the Dorito guy, or girl, you know, I should say player. Nowadays we got a wealth of female players that are involved now too. But I think you understand my point, right? It's field dependent, because the snake side on one field is totally different than the snake side on another field. Sometimes it's really fast, sometimes it's really slow. So why are we going to put our really fast, aggressive player that wants to get to the other team's side of the field in a spot that they have to just sit there and be alive the whole time?
Yeah.
You know, makes no sense. And then you put your conservative player on the fast side, you're not helping yourself, you know? So being able to recognize that early is huge.
And then also being, as a player, being able to do both modes. So if you do get stuck on a side, you're an aggressive player and you have to play slower, you have to have both those modes.
Absolutely.
Which is like a thing, you know, early on my career, I had to adapt to. I had to learn. It's like, okay, sometimes I'm going to get stuck. How do I play this game if I can't go? You know, and then it's a good skill to have, right?
For sure.
You got to have both modes and be able to know when to turn one on, turn one off.
That's right. Yeah, it's the wherewithal to have the awareness of the timing in each moment of the game, or what's going on. What are the parameters of the situation that we're in? And that's something that's hard for a lot of players to fully grasp, because they're so concerned with what's happening in the moment, in their gunfight, in, you know, looking around and the optics of looking through their eyeballs instead of being inside of their brain and thinking big picture, from like almost like you're watching the field like a bird above it and trying to see it that way. But once you start to do what you did from a young age, which is to see it from above and understand those situations, it makes paintball a lot more fun and a little easier as well, because you're not going to be making as many mistakes if you're seeing it from that perspective.
For sure. And that's, you know, and that's the game. That's the hard part to learn. Everyone can learn how to snap shoot. All the fundamental skills. Nowadays, all these kids, it's like, I see it in all sports kind of coming up, is kids are getting so good at all the fundamentals. And, you know, when I show up to a field, some kid that's been playing for a year, he's got a crazy snapshot. You know, he's good on his gun. He's good at running and gunning. But then learning all that other stuff is where it separates people now. It's like, it's the mind, it's the thought of the game, how you see everything, how you react to things, how well you keep track on your team, how well you communicate, you know, all that stuff. It doesn't matter how good you are at gunfighting if you don't have all that other stuff. But that stuff's the hard stuff to learn, right? It's hard to teach. It's hard to learn. It just comes with experience and time and, you know, the right mind.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy how it, like everything is everything. It's a microcosm of life kind of. So how has the game shaped you as well? Because you've been playing paintball for so long, and I'm sure it's helped you off the field as well, because you learn so many different tactics that you learn from paintball that you can apply in real life. So how has the game like shaped you as a person on and off the field?
I guess first of all, everything is everything should be on a shirt. I would say
next PTG merch drop.
Yeah, run it.
You know, awareness, I think, is situations, you know, being aware of everything kind of going around you. That I think is ingrained, kind of like a Jason Bourne style, you know, like I think just like that. Peripherals and like, you know, you're kind of always on edge because paintball, you're always looking around, you're always checking in, you're always, even though you're looking this way, you kind of know what's going on over there. And that happens. To be honest, it helps with like driving and being alert on, you know, snowboarding or doing anything. You're just kind of more open to everything around you. I would say that's like the biggest thing.
Agreed.
But, yeah.
Agreed on that. I feel like when I'm driving, I'm applying paintball tactics. Like, you know, oh, I got to check. I'm checking this off. All right, we got this. This is good. You know,
hit the gap, get in the snake.
Checking with the kids in the back. How's the snacks? How's the snacks? You know, asking for directions.
Bad life.
I think the biggest thing that and we've talked about this as well, but the biggest thing that paintball's taught me is a formula that you can apply to almost anything you want to get good at. You know, whether it's a sport, a business, you know, another game, a relationship, there's like a very specific formula of breaking things down and going over the details and just kind of piecing together bit by bit, you know, a collection of, you know, improvements to reach a certain goal. I think like if anybody has, you know, success in sports, I think they take those lessons and can kind of become good at almost anything they apply themselves to.
Well, yeah, just I think, you know, looking off of Dave Baines' DMG, dedication makes greatness.
Yeah,
I think that goes with, I agree with you. If you took all the hours and time that you put into paintball and put into crocheting, you would be fucking nasty at crocheting, you know?
Sure.
So it's like, I think just doing anything and being hyper focused and doing that a lot. And like we talked about earlier, like putting that effort and that drive into something, you're going to get results.
Yeah.
But,
without a doubt. For the young aspiring players out there, what's some advice you would give to them trying to chase the pro dream? There are a lot of up and coming youngsters that want to, you know, take our jobs and are hungry to get onto that pro field. So what would be your advice for them?
One thing I always say, like, especially when I do clinics and stuff, is that, again, look to do that extra stuff. You know, like you see so many times guys are on the field and they're waiting for a game to start or they're waiting for people to come out. It's like when you're standing there doing nothing, you don't have to rip your whole loader and go load up, but spend the 2 minutes you're waiting for people and snap shoot a pole. 20 balls, right? It could be anything. Or start at the starting gate, shoot a couple perfect downfield. You know, like at the end of practice, I used to say this all the time, is we would end practice. This was just when I was younger, and guys would sit at the gate of the field and they would rip their whole loader. They would just shoot it downfield. And I'm like, why not run and gun with that a little bit? You know, use that paint. You know, I know you're at the end of the day, you've only got 50 balls left. Run and gun a tree or set up a box and snap shoot it 20 times. Because if you have 10, 20 guys playing and 19 of them walk up the field and they're done for the day, and the one kid stays and he snap shoots 50 balls, well, guess who's getting better? You know, put that extra time, that extra little step that other people aren't doing. And it shows your dedication, shows you want to work on this. Another thing that's big is, and everyone sees it, and I think everyone's bad for it, especially at these local fields, is they're scared to play better people. They have their niches. You know, a lot of times you get to a field and it's like the 5 guys that run that field and they always play together. And it's like, there's almost butterflies when they have to play each other. It's like, you should have that. You should ask your teammate, hey, let's gunfight, because I know you're better at gunfighting than me. You know, it's like, you're always trying to get better instead of just winning, if that makes sense, right? So many guys just want to beat up on the other lower guys at their field, but it's like, you should play against your better guys. You know, jump on the lower team every once in a while and play against your 4 guys. You know, it's like, or split up. He'd be like, hey, you 2 go down there, us 3 stay here, and let's play against each other. Instead of beating people up all day and be like, hey, we didn't lose a point all day. It's like, okay.
Oh, it's humbling. And I love that you brought that up, because that's something that I do out here in Arizona. I have a little cactus crew. That's what I call it. The cactus crew of like Arizona locals that we run around with. But a lot of the times I go out there and it's just me, and I'll hop on with the locals, and we'll be playing against 5 guys who play together like every weekend. And I get humbled out here. I'm like, because I can't beat if they're all working in synchronicity together and have a really good, you know, game plan, and I'm playing with people that I've never played with, and you know, maybe aren't at the par level of that team. We most of the time, like, I'll sneak out, I'll get like a 4-pack or something and win the game for us here and there. And like, but I would say 50% of the time I'm getting humbled because I'll lose my teammates, and then it's just me versus like, you know, a couple or 3 of them, and I got to battle them, and they shoot the shit out of me, and I'm like, all right, you got me. Right? And they love that. They love it. It would be
so easy for you to show up and play with the 5 good guys. Be like, yo, let me play with you, and then just stomp all day. But yeah, it's like, I see that too many times at fields. I'll show up and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. It's like, you don't want to lose. You don't want to play against harder people, but that's what it takes to get better. If you just are always beating people up, it's like, you're not learning. So yeah, get out of your comfort zone is my advice to kids.
Those are always the best practices, is when you go and get beat up. Like I think last couple of years on Dynasty, some of our best practices, you got Impact beat us up all weekend, and then you figure it out and you go and have success at the tournament. And on the other side, we've had practices where it's like nothing really goes wrong. You're beating up on the other team, and you're right, you don't learn. You don't get stung by something on the Dorito side that you go, oh shoot, if we don't have eyes on that, like that's possible, you know? And if you're not, you know, aware of how you can lose on the field, you go into the tournament and, you know, Sunday morning, you see a team that does something you haven't seen or predicted, and that's it. Your tournament's over. And we see it all the time, you know, like, and it is interesting. JC, want to pick your brain on this a little bit, because Damage is like the first one to start doing this, not practicing other pro teams. In other sports, pro teams during the season don't practice other pro teams. They don't scrimmage other pro teams. They have like, you know, structure and plays, and they do a good job of watching film. They understand what teams are going to do. Do you think that that's something we're going to move away from, or do you think it's something that is here to stay in our sport? What do you think is a better model?
I think the thing, I do think practicing yourself is, if you have a good team, is almost better. But the hard part for us right now in the sport is not every team has 10 guys, right? So it's like, it's hard to, then now you're bringing in lower end guys or guys that don't play with you. And then that's the problem. For Impact over the last couple of years, when we've had a roster of 10 good players, it's been great because, you know, you're playing against 5 of the better people in the league. Because, you know, it's like, you, like I just said, you want to play players that are harder than you. You know, I want to play against guys that I respect, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, this guy's not going to let me make these moves, or he knows how I play. So it's like, now it's even harder. I do think that's the only problem is then you have to have good coaches, because you got to be willing to try everything. You got to have a good mind for the players, because you got to be doing the stuff that you might see from another team. Because that's the good thing about practicing another team is you learn a different pace or how they see the field. You might show up to a practice and your whole team thinks, okay, the Dorito side is awesome. And then you play a team that constantly plays up the middle because they think the middle's better. So when you play yourselves, you got to have that ability to think like another team, because you don't want to get stung by a team that plays the middle and they play it better. And then you're like, shit, I didn't know that was there, you know? So I do think it is weird as a sport that we do play, other pro teams, but you also, it's hard to get away with because right now playing a good pro team is better. You know, it's like you do get those different views. So I don't know. I think it could go away once teams were more filled and there was enough players and every team could support a 5-on-5, you know, or if you had a home team. I'm seeing a lot of pro teams, they have their semi-pro teams to play against.
Right.
If you have something like that, then you can do that because now you get away. But yeah, I would like to see that more because then, you know, for example, we play against you guys, we practice, you get 3 days in. And then when you do meet up whenever in the tournament, you kind of know how the other team plays. You're like, okay, this is practice 3.0. Let's just see who has figured it out since then.
Totally.
But it would be cool that's kind of why I like the blind layouts too. I like to just show up and like us battle out, see who can figure out the field quicker. And it's kind of more exciting to see how a team, you know, calculates everything like that instead of just grinding on it for 2 weeks straight. But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is the like major difference in our sport in comparing them to others is that we have a field layout that we prepare for. So you do need to see high level looks, whereas in other sports, you know, the football field doesn't ever change, the basketball court doesn't change, the hockey arena doesn't change. Yeah. So you know, you can watch film on teams and you know how they like to play. You know what kind of packages they like to run on that field. It's always that field. Whereas in our sport, you're trying in a short period of time to learn this. Basically solve this new puzzle. And I think if we ever did get to a point where we did move away from practicing other pro teams, it would be because we had a very in-depth coaching staff and team and organization. And you could be like, okay, we have to apply pressure points over here on the Dorito side for this set. We're going to spend 5 points really exploring this, and then 5 points really exploring the middle. And then, you know, you would have like almost specialists that would make sure that you don't leave any stone left unturned. Yeah. And then you ideally come in prepared for almost anything, you know, on the layout.
Well, which is exciting though, because then you do run into you know, different teams how they want to play it, and it's like you've got one team that thinks the Dorito side's better, and you got one against a team that thinks the snake side better, and you get this like clash of like minds of like it's pretty interesting. I guess it's kind of like football, you know, you get a run team versus a throw team, or you get a strong defense versus a strong offense. So which makes for good matchups, to be honest. Yeah.
No, 100%.
Yeah, that's what makes sports exciting is those, you know, mind games, the mind wars that go on out there between the two teams and seeing the different, you know, like you said, you have a team that might be super aggressive down the Dorito side, match up with a snake heavy lineup and seeing how it all plays out. But it's chess out there, you know, like you were alluding to, it's all in the mind and making good decisions out there as a unit. All the fundamentals, that gets you in the door. But being able to play those mind games out there, that's what separates the top tier.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah,
all right, we got some. Go ahead, March.
No, I was just going to say, let's dive in a little bit to this offseason. Obviously, it's been crazy. A lot of action has happened. It seems like we say it every offseason, but it has to be the biggest offseason there's ever been, because it's so many teams and so many like marquee players from different teams are now in a different home. There's, you know, the Tauntauns coming in. We have a full new program. Let's talk about this move to Impact. I mean, I'm sure you were like heavily involved in it. You know, after you guys have had quite a bit of success in the last couple seasons. What does this move mean to you? Like, are you excited? Are you looking forward to what we have cooking or what?
Yeah, absolutely. This year off season has been crazy. I do agree, you know, because usually it's like one or two teams make some big moves, but like this, it's like every team almost it's made some sort of change in some aspect. So no, I'm pumped for you guys. You know, it's funny too. Everyone, our team's always misunderstood as far as things. Like everyone's always like, oh, you know, we went out and got everybody, but it's like in reality, everyone doesn't really know. We lost everybody. You know, like Zupa had to get surgery, so he's out for the year. He's kind of falling back. Derula retired. Tyler was starting his being a cop, so he was done. You know, it's like we were about to lose everybody. And in past times where we've picked a bunch of people up, it's like guys were leaving the team or they got poached from other teams, and then all of it. But then everyone just says like, "Oh my God, Impact got all these players." It's like, yeah, but we needed these players. Like this, our team was kind of dismantling, and people don't see that on the back end. But
that's something that wasn't really talked about is how many players left the organization going into 2025 for the season.
Yeah, it's not like we just made we just cut everybody and then just pulled to get you guys. It's like, no, we were going to have 5 or 6 guys, it's like we like to have a larger roster. So it's like we had the space to bring people. But yeah, I'm excited to have you guys all on the team. The big thing too is our team's going to be strong 10 guys. So back to that, like playing 5-on-5 and stuff like that, or having 2 full lines. Like it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Practices are going to be awesome. And then just working with the different combos, of who wants to play where with who is always a fun process to kind of figure out. So no, I'm excited for this first couple practices.
Yeah. I love how many options that we have. That's a really cool thing. Is I think the team can be very dynamic. And Dave has a lot of options and a lot of different ways that we could play any field, and really lean into whatever style we think is right, and we could switch styles and do all sorts of things. So definitely looking forward to it. We need to dial in some of the codes and all that stuff. JC, I'm actually going to call you after this. I need to have a conversation with you. Apparently you're the one that I need to have the conversation with. I think that's a big part of it too. Like getting comfortable communicating with each other on the field. That's going to be probably the biggest thing early on. Just being able to be efficient with how we relay information and get each other, good, valuable information that changes the outcourse of a game.
Yeah, Tyler Marcel has been worried about the codes I think he was on the team for a minute and he was asking for the codes.
It was the first thing I asked. And then Brandon's like, yeah, we don't really have how is there not a code sheet? I don't understand this. You guys are winging it.
Just like, calm down, man. It's October. It's November. We got months.
Dude, that's my boy. That is my boy. Yeah, and honestly, it is the most important. That's it. Passion. It's the most important thing of any organization is that on-field awareness. That is the separator. Kind of what we were alluding to earlier. And I'm really excited for what we're all cooking up together. We have such a talented team. And when we bring the cerebral side to it, it's going to be a very fun season for Impact to, take the organization to new levels. It's already one of the greatest organizations ever in the history of paintball. And we're looking for that next level, and we're going to all be pushing to, make sure that we can make that happen.
Absolutely. And, it's like, it's so funny too. On the outside, everyone's always like, they look at the team as just player base. You're like, oh my God, they all just we're all great players, but paintball is still a thing. You still need to bring it all together, and you still got to make it work. It's not just like, you don't just show up and like, hey, we're all great, give us the prize. Like you still got to beat everyone. You still got to come together, figure out the fields. You still got to do the work. It's like there's still stuff to be done there. So, and that's
chemistry
the exciting part.
Chemistry is so important, on-field chemistry, and like knowing how to play off of your teammates. It's imperative. Like you have to get to a point. And again, I think that's part of Fit's formula. It's part of why they were able to have success so quickly, because they have as Tyler has been saying, they have like a collective conscious, so when they're on the field, they all are thinking about the game the same way. So when a situation presents or the other team is in a certain formation and the score and the clock are a certain way, they all know how they want to play, and they all are kind of, they're communicating, but they're also just acting in real time based off of like a, already agreed upon, formula. So I mean, that's obviously, the stuff that we got to, pick up quickly. I don't think we'll have much.
Well, that's a thing. Again, people don't think of, they just think, these superstars are playing together, it's going to be a cakewalk. But it's like, people don't understand. It's like when you play against a team like Fit, or those guys, they play together every weekend. They're used to each other. They know what their guy's going to do just off of body language and stuff. So when you when you guys come to the team, when you get these new players on any team, it's like, it takes a while for those guys to learn how to play together and like learn the tendencies and timing. So it's like, you know,
Totally.
and that it's hard to get that quick. You know, you got to be ready for that. So.
Well, thankfully, we have the luxury of battling against each other for decades and being able to, you know, watch each other. And this is actually, you know, I'll get to be your teammate again, JC, which I'm super excited about because you're always been one of my favorite players and teammates from when I did play with Impact earlier in my career. Yeah, you're right, man. People just they like to put a big blanket over everything and write it off a certain way. But there's a tremendous amount of mental effort and spiritual effort, man. You got to care. And when everybody cares and everybody's putting in that effort and going the extra distance and going above and beyond and whatever the status quo is, pushing that, you know, to the highest levels that we can, that's where you get results. That's where the big things happen. And I couldn't ask to be surrounded by a more hungry group of players, which is exciting to be stepping into.
Yeah, I know, man. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
looking forward to it. All right, JC, we have some Discord questions, if you don't mind. We got, you know, listeners would love to ask some questions here.
Hold on. Do you have a dog?
I do.
Dude, where's it at? Bring it on the show. That's our favorite thing. Come on, get him on here. Let's see it. I'm getting a puppy, March. I'm getting a little one for the guys. My boys are getting a dog. Yeah, Theo's been asked. It's a little
everyone meet Sammy.
Sammy.
Hey, Sammy.
What a beautiful dog.
Yeah,
adorable, man. What kind of dog?
He's a border collie, Australian shepherd, and he's got some retriever in him.
Nice.
A little bit of a mutt. He's a good boy. He's smart.
He seems sweet.
Yeah, Theo's been asking for a dog for like 4 years, and it's been something where we're like, well, Max has to be old enough because we don't want Max wrestling the dog, you know.
Yeah.
And we're getting oh man, what kind of dog does Ronnie have? He has the that little short dog. There's
a corgi.
Corgi, yeah. So it's a corgi,
Nice.
a corgi poodle mix.
Oh,
yeah. So we're getting one of those. Theo's over the moon. Max was asking, can he wrestle with it still? We're like, bro, no, it's a baby. You gotta take it easy, dog.
you gotta love the dog.
Yeah, we keep having to tell him it's a baby. You got to think of it like it's a baby. So I think, you know, it'll be a good learning experience for both of them to have a little pup around.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with these questions.
All right, let's do it. All right, Nick Sloviak, he wants to know, what has been your favorite tournament win? PSP, NPPL, NXL, Millennium. What has been your favorite win?
Oh, geez.
That's a tough one. Got a lot of wins.
You know what? Probably I would say one of the best would be our 7-man in semi-pro. Because we were, again, it was our first year. We were battling. We didn't think we'd be there, right? We came into the league and we got 4th. And then we were just in that top 4 or 5 the whole season. And we won the 3rd event, Boston. And it was just such a validating moment of like, holy shit, we could do this. And winning that event, and then, you know, doing well the next events won us our pro spot. So I think it was that moment of like, because again, we came in, I'd played one event in the States prior to that this season. And then they had, you know, that was the year before they jumped up. So they were kind of getting beat up and playing Div 2. So to play at that high level, semi-pro, and to do well, win a tournament, and then put us in a good spot to win our pro spot was like, holy shit. This is it. Like, we're here. I think that would be probably the most, you know, even though it wasn't a pro win, it was just that understanding of like, okay, we can keep going with this. Like, this cements us. Because, you know, if we would have came in that year and got 10th all season, who knows? I might have never played professional paintball. It's just, it was that kind of rise up, you know, to give everyone confidence, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, catapulted. Catapulted you.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And then all the other pro wins were great too. But
yeah, you've got quite a few of those.
Yeah.
All right, we got Mark Paris. Justin, if you had to re-sign one of the guys from Impact that did not get retained for 2025, who would you bring back and why?
Oh shit! So like anybody on the
I think from this season, like, because we had, I think, 4 players that weren't able to continue going.
Let's do both. Let's do one from this season and
Okay.
one like all-time Impact guy to bring back.
I guess this season, probably I would say Trevor. Trevor left the team. I think he was kind of the one that got the short stick out of everyone. He was actually not leaving, and he got let go. And Trevor's just such a great guy. Great teammate, great player, just all around good guy. And I wish him the best on Infamous. I think he's going to play great for them.
Yeah.
And then all time, there's been a lot. Maybe
Josh.
Josh for the playing ability and having him around in the shenanigans, but I don't do many shenanigans now in my life. So maybe someone like a Danny Park. Danny. He was a great player. He's funny off the field. He was just a good human to be around. I think paintball, and especially a team, there's so much you spend a lot of time on the field, but you spend way more time traveling and with the person. And our team has always been like, we want to have people around us that we like. I don't care how good they are. If we don't get along or there's kind of these weird riffs and stuff, it just doesn't work. It's like you want to be able to sit down at breakfast and enjoy talking to the guy. It's like that's so much more part of the team. Sometimes when you see these teams of just mercenaries all playing together and you're like, ugh, that's got to be a nightmare behind the scenes. And our team's never been like that. We've kind of always, there's been players in the past that we've talked about like, hey, do we want to pick this guy up? He's great. And it's like, we'll look around the room and everyone's like, fuck no way. It's like, no way. So, I think that's a big thing. So Danny Park would maybe be my second one.
Dude, Danny's awesome. He came from the Aftermath lineage as well. And just such a great guy. And Trev as well, man. Think, like you said, Trev is going to be amazing on Infamous, super hungry, and one of the best dudes in the game for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, we got PB the Kaizen. JC, are there any format or rule changes you would like to see in X-Ball? Pod limits, bunker changes, roster classifications, etc. Anything you'd like to change?
Maybe it would probably be something like weird and technical. Like I don't really like the the formatting, the seeding, and like trying to go through. I think so many times it comes down to like points, points for, and like people are getting knocked out because they didn't win an extra point. Or I think I also think the seeding, I think there was a tournament, what was it? The 4th event where the Russians won. They beat us in the semifinals, and there's no reason we should have played the Russians. They were the best team on their group. We were the best team on our group. And somehow we matched up before the finals. And I think, that's wrong. No team in any sport in the whole world should the 2 best teams meet before the finals.
So I think the way Jason does it is he keeps it the number 1 and 2 seed in the season rankings, so that they won't match up. Ultimately at World Cup, the 1 and 2 seed for the series won't match up until the finals. But I hear what you're saying. I agree. Like
I think you
could probably do both, right? Like you could have, once you get to World Cup, then maybe it changes and it's based on series seeding. But like in an event, if you're the 1 and 2 seed, you should match up at the end of the event.
Yeah. And we had an amazing game. It was like maybe one of the better games on Sunday. And then the final was a snooze fest. It was boring. So it's like you just screwed the fans. You screwed the teams. Like I just think so. It's not a fun answer, but it would be technical in like seeding and stuff like that. I also think let's just keep it at that.
There you go. No, yes, spot on. All right, we got Brian. Is there any athlete in any sport that you admire and why, or which one do you admire and why?
Well, I'm a Penguins fan, so Captain Canada, Crosby. He's out. I've always watched him kind of like, he came in. It's funny. We're kind of like mirrored each other in sort of a way. We're close in age. We started at the same time. He won his cups kind of when Impact was winning and like in the same area. Like it's kind of been funny following his career along with my career. But I would say Crosby.
There we
Gotta
go.
be a hockey guy.
Yeah, let's go hockey.
All right. Ocam's Razor 32 wants to know, what types of food do you wish they sold at events more?
Maybe probably some more healthy food, to be honest. You know, I don't eat extremely healthy, but during paintball, like if I'm going to have something in between a long wait, like I'm not crushing a burger, you know, it's like, so, I'm actually technically pescatarian, so I don't eat any meat. So like having more options that way would be great, but even just cleaner food, just something nice. And again, that's hard to sell to people that are drinking all day in the stands, right? But at least if there was an option, it would be nice.
Yeah, maybe like sandwich spot or something like that.
Yeah, deli sandwich or something nice. You know, it's There
you go. Yeah, that's what I always try to eat. Like if we're gonna play the finals and we just finished up around 11 or whatever, I'll try to find a nice little sandwich. And
you're not crushing a turkey leg with some donuts.
Hey, that's for after. That's after we win. Then you get the turkey leg. That's where it's at. Dilly is hitting.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dilly. Dude, Frank has been crushing it with those.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love to see it. It's good.
Those trucks.
I think you're.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
I want to dive into some hot takes.
Yeah.
Not only was there players making big moves, even the pit staff. Victor to Red Legion. It's pretty wild. That's a big one. The pit master is going to be taking his expertise over there. That news just broke, I think, a few days ago. And then Jeremy Doan to Aftermath, Matt Askren, NRG Elite, picking him up from LVL. And then Paige is a WNXL player. Shout out to Paige. She's joining Tiki Zohana. So we still got some moves happening. But yeah, I did not see the Victor one happening, but he's joining his boy Mikey over there with the Red Legion. I'll be helping him out there.
To be honest, it's pretty cool to see like the paintball's got to a point where, people care about the coaches and the staffing and stuff, because it is a big part of the game, and people don't know about it, don't hear about it, but like, there's a lot of people doing work behind the scenes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, and if you've got one of those guys on your team, man, it helps out so much. It just, it's one less thing to think about if you got other people on helping out. So it's cool to see people caring about, they've got a stat or a coach show, with the Hurricanes dudes, and like, that's becoming more of a thing. And like the fact, 10 years ago, like 5 teams had coaches in a sense. And now it's like, you got to have a coach. It's like someone, even if they're not, you see a lot of people that weren't even pro. They're just like some dude that knows paintball that gets in there and can help out a team. And you're like, okay, like that's cool to see.
You need it. Yeah. It's all about efficiency, and Victor provides efficiency. That's what he does, man. He's going to be a major help. And like you said, the pit staff is irreplaceable. They are really one of the cornerstones of success. We can't be successful without them. So they are just as important as us as players going out there and doing the job, because they prepare us, they help us, they give us intel. That the whole team is working together to get the win.
Yeah. Well, and so many divisional teams know that, right? They run into like their coach is a dude that's playing. Guy runs the snake, he's dying, comes in, has to come up with a play and call the guys, and you're like, this is not efficient,
Not the business.
Yeah. So you need an outside perspective, but
for sure.
All right, JC, my last question from the Discord. This is an iconic question on the show from Verbal. He asks all the guests, JC, favorite food and your favorite place to eat it.
Oh, favorite food and favorite place to eat it. Right now, I just moved to this town just like a couple months ago, and I would say I found a donair falafel place. So like kind of like a gyro for some people or whatever. Yeah. And up here, Canada kind of has their different thing. They do a sweet sauce on it, and it's it's delicious. It's kind of like a wrap with falafel, or you can get in beef and whatever, but it's got this sweet sauce. It's just delicious.
There we go.
So,
yeah, nice.
And it's pretty healthy. Pretty decent.
I was actually just speaking with somebody about us possibly doing a clinic up there in Canada at some point. And he told me to touch base with you about that.
Yeah. Was that Alfred? Was his name Alfred?
I believe so. And it would be in like the summertime, possibly out there.
Yeah. I did one out there actually at Mike Carey's outdoor field. He's got an outdoor field out by Calgary and stuff. And
no way. I did not know that he still is heavily involved like that and has a field.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's got it's like loosely, now probably, but yeah, he runs a little series out there and stuff. Again, the series I kind of grew up playing.
Awesome.
And I went out there last year because again, I have family out there, so it's kind of easy to mix it in. So it's just hard because we are not practicing in Canada. So, it's not like we're already up here and can do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you guys can all come out to the lake. Have a little, we can mix something in there or do something like that. But
now we're talking.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Now we're talking.
Yeah,
all right.
Bart's got a lake house that all the guys kind of come to, and yeah, it's pretty fun.
Summertime. We're running it.
I mean, that was why I signed.
Yeah.
Going up.
It's already booked.
Let's go. All right, my last one is from Joshua. What was your first marker you ever owned, and would you use it in a tournament today, just for fun, of course?
Absolutely not. My first was a Piranha, and and back in the day, it was like it didn't even have a front handle; it was a hose. Yeah. So I would just hold on to that little hose.
Those were the worst. Those were the worst of the bad guns.
Oh, they were terrible. And I was out there just murking people. People are like, "Oh, you got your own gun," and they're all worried. And then we show up to the field, and it's the same rental guns. It's like, oh shit! But that thing was a killer.
This makes perfect sense because you're a piranha on the field, just out there attacking, dude.
So I had to get close because that thing couldn't shoot anyone from 100 feet out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, brother. Yeah. Well, dude, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We can't wait to see you soon. I think we're all going to try to get together pretty soon here and have some fun. But we can't thank you enough, JC, for all you've done for decades in this sport, and excited to get after it together, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, brother. Looking forward to this next season and many years to come.
Yeah.
Excited. And we'll be talking soon.
Absolutely.
Code sheets.
He's calling you right now, as soon as we get off the show.
I'm writing them down right now.
Peace.
Thanks, bro.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. If you enjoyed the show, please head over to ptgpaintball.com. Click the orange Patreon link in the corner and support the show. We greatly appreciate it. We have tiers as low as $1.99 a month. That is nothing, guys, and it'll give you access to the Discord where you get access to the players chat and get to mingle with the entire PTG community. We have tons of different pros in there. Tyler and myself are very active, and it's an amazing way to support the show. We also have amazing other tiers. If you want to be one of the best, want to be a GOAT, sign up for the GOAT tier. It's the greatest way to support us, and each month we do a private live stream show, one-on-one kind of thing, to where it's just the GOATs, and Tyler, myself, will bring in some special guests every now and then, but you get to ask us questions in real time, live, on the air, and you get lots of inside juicy news that we don't share on the show. So, as always, we will see you guys very soon.